Hi, before you move on to the video, I just want to say this is more or less of a discussion video about Goatman's recent nerfs and nerfs and how it's basically a small rant. We mainly just talk about Goatman here. Now, if you have any other ideas or optimizations you want to give to Goatman, feel free to drop it down in the comments. But I just realized that I didn't record an intro for this, so here I am right now. So, but like basically the whole video is you seeing me being a little bit animated. It's more or less of a it's like a one-to-one talk. Yeah, it's kind of like a one-to-one talk. But of course, when you're leaving down your comments and we're seeing other people's comments, don't be too bashful and rude, please. Thank you very much. I know, look, we're all judgmental, but at the end of the day, if someone recommends something really outrageous, just try to counter it as respectively as possible. We don't want too much shaban here. But enjoy the video. Well, hello! But in a nutshell, as I said last week as well, we're gonna do more or less chill videos on Sundays, and for this one, I guess we could kind of talk about the Goatman recent nerfs before him being released in ranks. Yes, it has been 3 days later, but I just feel like now is not a bad time to actually talk about it. For Goatman, when his patch note release, I actually have it right here as well. So what do we have? We have September the 5th hot fixes, in which Goatman is now available in rank, but we reduced initial resentment by 5. We reduced the duration of cage from 11 to 10 seconds, and after activating tier 2, the resentment rate has been reduced from 2.5 seconds to 2.4 per second. Now, in a nutshell, for some people, what I would say is you might think, hey, we got a second nerf right now for Goatman, and he just recently got released into rank modes. What are the devs thinking? And I do think as well with these buffs and adjustments too, right? Moving on maybe to co-op, to tourney plays, I'd say maybe the pro players might be able to make something out of this, but it still might be a tiny bit hard. It's kind of like when Hermit came out. Like, not a lot of people used him because of his trait, which is a little bit bad. And I kind of do feel like from 11-second cage time to 10-second cage time, that's not really that good for Goatman, because like if you think about it this way, there are so many characters that can use one items to kind of get rid of one of the cages, and then you have to recast a cage within 3 seconds, so then you reduce the energy it consumes, reduce the redemption it consumes. So for first cage it takes 40 stacks. For the second cage in a row, it'll take, I think, 14 stacks or maybe 11 stacks, somewhere along the lines of less than 20. So then, like, you need to, let's say, a lot of people kind of say, hey, you want to block survivors off one area and then use another cage right in front of you to get a hit on them. In which I will say, that might work, but if they've more than enough distance against you, it still wouldn't work. So, like, in that case, it's kind of more like, what can we do in that situation? And there's a lot of survivors that actually counter Goatman because of that too. Like, if you think about it, right, Patient is one of them. Patient is one of them. Seer is another one of them. You really have to ban Seer against Goatman, because like for Seer, it's literally just tight containing, get as much outlet as possible. Puppeteer is also another one. Potentially speaking, Enchantress, Antiquarian is another potential if there's walls nearby. Batter is another one. Acrobat is another one. Just anyone that in a nutshell can heal and has items to be able to transition or tight cut you. So like for Goatman right now, I played him in ranks, not in ranks, I played him in quick matches honestly against like tier 5 survivors. It seems a little bit overwhelming for me, cause right now you have 50 initial resentment. Yes, by the time you find your first target, you'll probably have 70-80 resentment, so you can use a few cages to down someone, but it's not always that you're going to be able to do that. Because like if you think about it this way too, like in tourneys to play against Bonbon, to play against Sculptor, like the moment where you spawn is the moment you start decoding, because like these characters you can Cypher Rush against. Unlike Opera and Ivy, you do have to rotate to a better area, but against like slow moving hunters that can't use any items early game, like Goatman and like like Sculptor and Bonbon, I just feel like in tourney settings, it's really easy to counter Goatman. Like, he's kind of a tie guarantee counter right now, and like if you do misplace one of your cages by accident, or like if you place a little bit too close to yourself and you lock yourself off, or if you just mislocate it by a tiny bit, it seems like the survivors have, you know, a really good chance of basically winning against you. And I also do think that the chip damage is a little bit is way too punishing, because like if you think of, well, maybe it's just me and I'm not good enough at playing Goatman just yet, but I feel like for survivors right now, the thing is, the moment you walk past your portal, you cannot swing. You genuinely speaking cannot swing, because if you do swing and you swing in the wrong direction, you're absolutely screwed, and that's a big issue too. And it's kind of along the lines of, okay, you go through the portal, like survivors go through the portal first, and then you go through the portal, and then you're trying to turn your head around to see where the survivors are going. Like in that case scenario, it's kind of like, what do we do? So like if we're gonna live interact this, right, it's kind of like, oh, I'm walking, like imagine this, right, oh, I'm walking in to the cage, the survivor just walked in, I'm walking in, and then not only did you walk in, when you appear from the other side, you need to do a 180-degree turn first to actually see where they are. You need to do like, oh, I walked through, I need to turn a 180-degree turn to see where they are, and then I need to swing. And that is kind of annoying, because even if you do a 180-degree turn, you're kind of like, okay, do I look left or do I look right? That's kind of where we are at right now. And most of the time, survivors will just stay near the cage too, so they'll kind of like just loop you around. So like, yes, it's 2-second cooldown for survivors and 0.8-second cooldown for hunters, but at the same time, it just feels like when you pan your camera angle, it's kind of like, it's a bit hard. Honestly, it's a bit hard. Maybe it's just me, and it's my first time playing Goatman today. Because for the Hunter Marathon, I was like, hey, why not play Goatman for the first time instead of doing the 100 videos first? So for me, it's kind of like, it's a little bit annoying where you're like, okay, I place the cage down, the survivor goes past it, and then when they go past it, I go through as well, and then I try to find where they are, but I need to turn 180 degrees first. But then it's like you need to turn 180 degrees first. That's kind of how I feel about it right now. Unless I am wrong and there's just something wrong with my camera angle on PC. Oh wait, let me just double check that recording actually. Oh, okay, yeah, sorry. I just 100% finished checking the recording. In a nutshell, it is when you walk through, you're facing the same direction where you walk through, so you still need to turn 180 degrees. And like during that case scenario too, yes, the hunter can turn 180 degrees, and you can do a basic attack hit during that time, but it's still a little bit hard. I feel like he's not newbie friendly. He's really not newbie friendly like Ivy. But then Opera's kind of newbie friendly. I won't lie, Opera's really newbie friendly. But aside from that, that's kind of where I feel like, hey, maybe NetEase could adjust this, because like, look, you've reduced resentment from 60 to 50 now. You've also reduced the cage time from 11 to 10 seconds now. You've increased his attack recovery animation. You've increased his charge attack recovery animation. And then there's also the max presence redemption or resentment nerf from 2.5 to 2.4. I just feel like, hey, it wouldn't be that much of a bad adjustment when it comes to, look, when we walk past the gate, can we, instead of facing the gate, face the other side, so then we don't need to pan 180 degrees and then do a normal hit, because that takes way too much time. Especially when it's only 2 seconds. Like, consider this, right? Consider this. Not only do you have to like walk in front like this, the moment you go past the gate, you need to do this, and then you swing, and then you swing. So that kind of gets really annoying for me, I feel, as Goatman. I feel like that is a little bit annoying, because like even on PC, I'm kind of like doing this all the time. So then like it's kind of easier for me just to do it on a mobile phone, where I can like just swipe. Like just do like this amount of swipe instead of like twice the length on my mouse. which and you know, the amount of strength I have to put into it too. But like it's kind of just where I'm at right now. So, you know, maybe NetEase, if you see this video, could we potentially, when we walk past gate, could you just pan us 180-degree facing the other side of the wall, instead of us like being at the corner, like being a punished child, and be like, I'm sorry for what I've done. I'm really sorry for what I've done. Can I turn around right now? You know, because like, it's just, maybe it's a skill issue. Maybe it's a skill issue for us. But then I just feel like turning around 180 degrees takes 1 second, and then there's just this other second where the survivors have free movement at all times. And it's not only that, you need to move 2 of your fingers at the same time. I know, look, first world problems. I know, you need to do this, and I need to move backwards like dash. But then it's kind of like, it's kind of annoying. Now in the 100 marathon video, you'll probably will be able to see the Goatman video, and then you'll see like Ench, Seer, and 4 just kiting me. Just kiting me. Now, of course, I know there's backdash. I know backdash exists, and then you can maybe try backdash over and cancel backdash, etc., etc. But once again, it's kind of like you backdash and then you press your cage. But then if your cage isn't on the right side, you're still screwed. So there's also kind of that too, you know. Now I do understand some people really love the make the cage big, block with their side, and then use the other cage to block the inside. Which, you know, fair enough. But you have to be close to the survivors first, and they need to be away from the pallet areas first. So like, this is kind of the conundrum we're at right now. So like, it's like, hey, if you are, let's just think, right? Who's a good character for Goatman to chase after? Let's just say Psycho. Because she's 3 hits, right? So if you're a psychologist, how would you kite Goatman? Let's pretend that you're tight kiting, and then as Goatman you have fast pallet breaking. And then when you drop the pallet down, and then the Goatman's breaking the pallet, you just rotate out. Let's say you're at 4 stop, and then Goatman puts a cage down, be like, I'm stopping you from going in, and then he needs to put another cage right in front of him just to guarantee that one normal hit onto her cycle. Yes, in that case scenario, it'll work. It will work. But also at the same time, Psycho will try to force break the cage that's right in front of her. So like the cage in front of you, in front of Psycho, and where you're inside will both be broken at the same time. So they can still pull distance, realistically speaking. They can still pull distance, right? And then it's a 3-hit character too, because like most of the times it's more or less just, hey, let's just pull distance, and then we're near pallets, let's just tight kite. Because like when you use 2 of your cages early game as well, like you don't regain resentment under 2.5 seconds until max presence. So that's like maybe 2nd, 3rd chair, right? And then like if your first chase is horrid, everything else goes horrid. Because it's kind of like saying, hey, we need to ban we need to ban mercenary as the main rescuer, but also at the same time, it's kind of like you don't have to ban mercenary. Mercy isn't the only counter to it. As long as survivors can just leave their cipher machine the moment your survivor downs, you can just rescue, no problem at all. It's basically the same as rescuing against Bonbon, rescuing against Mad Eyes, rescuing against what's a really good example? Rescuing against Dream Witch. You leave the cipher the moment your survivor gets incapped, not the moment they get chaired. And then you can just do the bot basic rescue, like what we did on stream, right? Like what we did on stream. So it's kind of just like, he's not really a good enough character, in my opinion, now for tourneys. Because yes, he might be confusing to play around sometimes. Yes, you might be able to like maintain perfect distance, so force the survivor to run into the gate and then into your face and hit them. But most of the times that won't happen. Just like most of the times that won't happen. It's very rare case scenario in which that happens. Unlike in IJL, in IVL, in Japan and CN servers, it's kind of like, it's pretty obvious how to rescue against this guy. it is pretty obvious how to rescue against this guy. And I feel like it wouldn't take that long, really, for survivors to know how to counter him anymore. And I do feel like a lot of the character pools counter Goatman. Because like if we go through it, like Doctor is one of them, Lawyer is another one of them. Realistically speaking, Lawyer is another one of them because you can see through walls to see if he's gonna do this or not. Like this animation where, oh, I'm gonna put down Cage. Lucky Guy could be considered another one of them. Maybe even Gardner, Taikai 50-second bubble, or that 5-second bubble that she has after standing still for 2 seconds. Even though you might say, hey, but the cage doesn't disappear after you hit it. But like the cage is only 10 seconds, so who cares really? And then well, I'm just thinking of all the survivors, like Merc can counter him, Ford can counter him, Weeping Clown can counter him. Badder can, if you chase after Badder can counter him. But it's just that he's really good against harass characters when they want to come harass you when you want to chair someone. I wouldn't say Goatman is particularly good at stopping mid-kite harassers, because if you do, you need to place one cage in front of them first, and then you need to immediately place another cage 3 seconds within 3 seconds time to block the survivor in front of you, and then be like, okay, I'm gonna go after you now, and I have to hit you within 10 seconds. That's kind of like an iffy moment in my opinion. For now, we really will have to see how well, you know, maybe for IVL Autumn or IVL Winter. I'm thinking it's IVL Winter. How well IVL Winter and IGL Winter will go. That's kind of like where we are at currently. But, you know, the main takeaway for this is just, you know, talking, you know, face-to-face, talking me to you guys, because I think it's nice to do these like weekly. Why not? You know what? Why not just allow, look, it's okay to give the nerfs, fair enough. You want to make every character around the same level. Now, it's hard to balance all characters. That's 100% understandable. That, like, the most of the community understands balancing all characters is impossible, right? It's like saying, hey, Doctor is being shish, Ripper is being shish, but they are shish because they're really easy to play compared to, you know, Forward, Antiquarian, etc, etc. So then like so then there's kind of where you're like, okay, we don't want to see Opera Ivy all game. Now Goatman has been released, we don't want to see Opera Ivy Goatman, so then that'll be 200-sided and it might get too boring, because like in tourneys you would like to see the survivors be able to fight off the hunters, which is why, you know, for us hunters we're like, stop nerfing them. But then also at the same time, we could somewhat understand since the majority of players are survivors, because, you know, it's a 4-to-1 game. But I do think it's not even a buff, right? It's just an adjustment. It's just like an optimization. Can we have, you know, like an setting where once you go past the cage, instead of facing the wall like you being a naughty child, let's just face the other side, not to the wall, please. That's kind of, you know, all what I would like for Goatman, but hopefully it's not too much. I kind of went on a rant here for 17 minutes. I should have uploaded a members video today, but I got too busy. I was recording Hunter Mart, and that should be coming out soon. But leave your opinions down in the comments. And, you know, is there any buffs or nerfs potentially that you think would be good for Goatman? Now, of course, since they nerfed him, then it just means that maybe he's a bit too strong. So then when you're considering your buffs and nerfs, be moderately considerable, right? Because my opinion is, let's just not face the wall, please. Let's just 180-degree turn towards the other side. I think that wouldn't be bad. I genuinely think that would be a really nice optimization or a nice feature to have. It's not necessarily a buff or a nerf, it's just, it's like a gameplay experience, really. Because like none of us, like imagine imagine you walk past your door and then you're like, oh, I walked past my door, now I'm facing my door for some reason instead of facing the room. That's kind of where we are at right now. But that will be the end of the video for today. Thank you everyone for coming. Please like if you anything. But then, like, yes, this is gonna be a daily, well, I'm not expecting much views from this, but this will be a weekly thing. This will be a weekly thing on this channel. So that's all for today. Thank you everyone for coming. Bye bye for now. Good night, your comments.